Hello everyone, Beer JJ here. Today this is going to be a video of me just complaining about one product, the Source 1600 watts titanium. I know this is probably some of you guys have been waiting for this power supply for a while, and you think that this power supply is going to help you all the way through the 40th generation and everything. And if that's the case, I think you guys are going to be very disappointed on this. So to be honest, I have already filmed the unboxing for this video and also the first impression. But then I was putting this into my new system and then some issue appears and I have to stop and then reshoot this video just to tell you what is going on. So I don't do more introduction on this thing, but yeah, it's titanium rating, it's 1600 watts power supply, and it's supposed to do pretty well. But I know like there are several like other 1600 watts power choices that you have. You have the very famous Corsair 1600 AX power supply, 1600i I think AX power supply, and that one's pretty good. And also we have the EVGA ones. EVGA has several different lineup of their 1600 watts, but also Asus itself, they previously have the first generation of the 1200 watts, that's the maximum. And now they're advocating that they're going to give you the 1600 watts Thor 2 power supply that's going to help you with the next generation, which is providing the PCIe 5.0 standard and everything. So, which is the first point that I want to discuss. So, if you take a look at the back of the power supply, and it's interesting that you don't find any native 60-pin connector from this power supply. That's something that people are expecting from you, Asus. So what they have here, they do have a 60-pin right here. Let me show you. So this is a 16-pin, to the 3090 Ti and also for the next generation. And look at the other end. This is still two 8-pin connector that's to the power supply. That means that we still don't have native 16-pin to 16-pin. And what is the purpose of purchasing this? I don't really recall anymore. So even if you see on the box here, and you see this 16-pin right here, this is stick onto the box. It's not like natively being printed onto the box. It's been sticked here. That means that when they make this power supply, they didn't think of they're going to make a 16-pin native connector to the graphics card, and then they decide to add this connector and call it 5.0 standard compatible, and then they just insert one of these cable in here and call it a day. That's not how things work, Asus, and customers will notify this. So this is the first bad thing, and the second bad thing for this thing that I noticed, it's something that I am totally unbearable. It's the fan right here. So if you take a look at the back of the power supply, what you see here is this is a C19 connector, which is different from the previous standard. And what you notice here, there's no fan stop button. Okay, so you might think that, probably they didn't put that because, you potentially use this power supply to in very high load purposes, such that if you turn it onto the 0 dB fan mode, it might, overheat or anything. I totally understand that, but the fact that this fan starts to spin at full speed, around like 600 watts, that's crazy. Because when I try to use the fan in my main system, which is a 3090 Ti plus 5950X, I don't do overclocking, and when I just run it like default setting on everything, the maximum power draw I would see was 600 or 700 watts, which should be less than the half of the standard. Because on the back of the box you will see that it told you that the fan will stop spinning before it reaches like 50% load. So 1600 divided by 2 is 800. That's totally under that, and it starts to run at full speed. I'm not sure what's going on. I think the controller module for this fan is totally broken, because I have modified, I've kind of like monitored the behavior on my first generation of Thor 1200 watts, and for the record, I'm pretty satisfied with that power supply. And the thing with that power supply is that, even you are under some load, you can see the fan spinning a little bit, but not at full speed until you are really, stressing it out and then getting really hot. And I know that these days, the weather are pretty hot, and I'm living in a room that's most of the time is around like 25 or less degrees Celsius, which should be fine for, it's not like too hot. So, but this one, there's only like two options, whether it's not spinning or it's spinning at max speed, and that speed is totally unbearable. The sound is more than 10 of my, it's more than 10 of my full speed Lianli SL fan, SL120s, and also plus two Cooler Master fans. So it is crazy. What I'm just trying to express here is that the noise is totally unbearable. So I'm going to put that noise right here just to let you guys to feel how loud it is. Okay, now you have seen how loud the video is, how loud the sound of this power supply is. So I'm going to say that Asus, you need to do more on your 1600 watts power supply. And this thing is not cheap. This thing costs like 800 CAD. That's crazy. 800 CAD. Like if you go to EVG's website, you see their power supply like 1600 watts titanium, very nice ones. T2, I think they're on sale and they're pretty cheap. You can buy two of that, like almost three of that power supply with the money to buy this one. And you can also, with this money, you can easily purchase the Corsair 1600i power supply. So don't waste your money on this. The only feature that the other two power supply doesn't have is this fancy LCD screen, and which I have already discussed in the previous video of the unboxing of the Thor 2 1000 watts. I think that one is fine. The fan curve for that one is fine. So what I'm thinking of Asus is going to do next for their power supply is they probably need to modify their fan module so that it will start to spin, and until it's, unless it's at really high load, don't let your fan spin at maximum speed. It's too noisy and we can't bear this. And secondly, please also add the native 16-pin support into your power supply, so that we're not just using some cheap cables right here. And this is not something we would expect for a 800 CAD product. That's not what we're expecting. So yeah, honestly, I don't recommend anyone at this stage to buy this power supply unless they fix all their issues. And even if they fix all their issues, there are still other things that you probably need to consider, because the price of this is really up there, and also it's only including one of this. And some of the, if you're buying this power supply, you're probably using a very high-end in your system. And you're probably expecting, two of these cables, or even using like 49 Ti, maybe using two of these 16-pin cables, and only one of them is not sufficient. So basically, you would expect them to include more in the box to start with. So I would say don't buy this for now, at least for a while, and unless there's some modifications to their products, so that and then you can think of even buying this. So again, I never done this in my video just to say such bad things about Asus products. You guys know that I'm rooted for Asus a long time ago, and everything that I have in my main system is like kind of Asus. I bought all their peripherals and everything, and just at my own cost. They're not sponsoring me anything. So and this is by far the biggest disappointment that I received from Asus, and I think that definitely the customers that you guys needs to be informed on this. So yeah, that's the entire video, and if you want to know how it looks at everything, I have already showed that in my previous video, so you can check it out. And yeah, if you have any other questions on this power supply or anything else, just let me know. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.